Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on another beautiful Sig Sauer pistol. Today we're going to be taking a look at the P229 Elite. Yeah, take a look at that. You cannot deny that stainless steel and wood is a great look, whether it's a long gun or a pistol. And of course, the P series of pistols from Sig is some of the best in the world. But before we get into the things that I like and don't like and talk about this pistol and get it to the range, I always want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this awesome pistol. His name is Ken. He's a local fan and subscriber of the channel. He's lent some other awesome SIGs before, so thank you so much, Ken. As always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donation and support, they help keep the lights on around here. You guys know the battle that I've had in the past with YouTube, and I owe my Patreons so much. And if you want to be a Patreon, you can see all this content early for just $1 a month. Link is in the description. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who makes all these range reports possible because he provides the ammunition, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And as I've already told you, today we are reviewing a beautiful pistol with wood panel grips. I'm actually going to talk about these grips a little bit later in the range report and a couple things about these that I don't like. And if you are in this situation where you have a beautiful firearm and maybe you're looking for a set of custom grips or you don't like the ones that are on the firearm, I have the perfect company for you, Brownworks. Brownworks is a company that can put on custom logos, custom engravings, make grips out of exotic woods, put on custom textures, make things like laminate wood grips, anything that you can possibly imagine that you could possibly want, I guarantee you, Mark can make. I'm going to ask you guys to go check out his website. I'm going to put a link in the comments section. Go over there and see what he has to offer. And sometimes people tell me, Jason, I don't see my gun on the list. Well, I can tell you Mark is over there busy making custom one-off grips for his customers more than he is updating his website. But let me tell you, his customer service is outstanding. So please make sure to contact him. Tell him what you're looking for. He can set you up. I'm also going to put a discount code for 10% off your first order down there. So when you order, use that. And please, when you contact him, tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about this awesome pistol and what it is. I know that many times these numbers with Sig can get a little bit confusing if you're new to guns. You just kind of have to remember what each one is. But essentially, the 229 is a modernization of the 228, which is a compact version of the 226. I know, it's a lot to remember. And essentially the modernization of the 228 added a couple of things. It added a rail here on the front, and Sig began to make the 228 slides out of a complete piece of bar stock steel instead of doing the stamped sheet metal slides that they used to do. And that kind of modernization, I guess they felt like it deserved a new number. And so that's essentially what the 229 is, a compact version of the 226, and it is revered by militaries and police around the world. In fact, I know for a time the U.S. Secret Service used it. I know if you're a big fan of television and like NCIS, well, Mark Harmon carries a 229 on that show. Theirs are chambered in 40, and it has the DAK trigger, which stands for the double action Kellerman. This one is chambered in 9mm and has the Sig SRT trigger in it, but it is the same model gun. This particular example, as I mentioned, is in stainless steel. Well, the slide is in stainless steel. They've anodized the aluminum frame to look like stainless steel, but it is made of aluminum, so it is a little bit lighter. And of course, it has these very nice wood grips, and we're going to talk a little bit more about those. I've already alluded to them. They look absolutely beautiful, but from a function standpoint, I have a couple of issues with them. So that's what this gun is with the Elite package, and that's why it's the 229 Elite. So let's talk about the things that I like and don't like about this pistol. And of course, the first thing is, it's a Sig. Man, I have reviewed a lot of Sigs on this channel. I know a long time ago, I started out as the Fort Worth Colt guy. But now, I guess when I look back on all the reviews I've done, I think I have reviewed more SIGs than anything else. And I absolutely love the quality of SIGs, and I love the aesthetics of SIGs. They just look very balanced. They're well designed, they're well thought out, they're ergonomic. They blend the lines and the functionality of a firearm. They don't look blocky, but they don't look silly and stupid either. I just like the way that they look. I also love the fact this gun is in stainless, or the slide is in stainless. It makes cleanup such a breeze. I love stainless guns. I don't have enough guns in stainless steel as it is. I'm also a big fan of these rails. Now I do have a couple of 228s. I love the way that those shoot, but occasionally I do want to put on a light or some other type of accessory, and having that rail out here is really nice. Something else that this gun offers that not all SIGs do is this great beaver tail. Now I have never had a problem with slide bite in the past with SIGs because the bore axis is so high, but man, this beaver tail here, it just looks good and it feels great in my hand. And the last thing that I really like about this pistol is that it utilizes the classic slide. Now, I'm also going to be reviewing another 229, I believe it's the Equinox, in the very near future, and it uses something called the Legacy slide. They kind of redesigned the way that it looks, but I like the classic slide. So we have these large cocking serrations in the back, and we have a large extractor. I've always found those to be a lot more reliable, and I feel like that's just the better way to design these because you get a better purchase on those slide serrations. I think it looks better balanced. I know it's a personal preference thing, but I do like the classic slide. All right, so now let's talk about the one thing about this gun that I don't like. And yeah, it's the grips. As I said, these things look beautiful. They even have that awesome Sig medallion in them. I don't know what wood that is. Maybe it's a rosewood. It is finished really nice, and it mates up to this receiver really nice. But my two issues with them is the fact that they are way too thick for what this gun is. This is a compact gun, and I got pretty big hands. And I want my compact guns to be smaller for concealed carry, but even with my larger hands, it takes a lot for me to get my hand and my fingers around that. Those are just big old grips. Then the texture of these grips is not over a large surface. We have all this area up here that is smooth. And this wood and the way that they finished it is extremely smooth. Now, normally I am not a fan of grips that are over textured and too aggressive, but these are under textured. They're very slippery, and if you have wet or sweaty hands or oily hands, I can see where this might be a problem, especially if you had to use it in some type of distress and all the adrenaline is pumping. I guess for a range gun, it's fine. And I guess for a barbecue gun where you just want to show off something beautiful, that would be fine. But I think from a function standpoint, I would definitely change these grips out and go buy me some Brown Works grip, something that's a little bit thinner and definitely has a little bit more texture to them. But that's the things that I like and don't like about this pistol. So let's go ahead and get this thing to the range. I'm going to load up this magazine with 15 rounds. Yeah, that's what this thing holds. I just want to have my first shots, see how this thing shoots. Is the gun accurate? Am I going to have any issues? How good is this SRT trigger? Well, let's find out. I'm going to set the target at 7 yards, go for center mass, and just see what happens. And I have to say that's a pretty darn good first group. I'm really happy with it. Of course, I didn't have any problems with this gun. It's a Sig, it's gonna be reliable, it's gonna be accurate, and I'm not having as many issues with the grips as I thought that I would. Of course, I'm not using this in a stressful situation. I still feel like they are a little bit too wide, but I definitely think that dampens the recoil a little bit. Even though it's only 9mm, it's not gonna be a very snappy gun, but for me, it definitely cushions that just a little bit because you have so much more surface area as the gun recoils into your hand. All right, so let's go ahead and double the distance. Let's go out to about 15 yards. I'm going to go for the head on this silhouette target, see how I do, and see if the accuracy continues. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that group, except I had a few flyers there, and I knew that was me when I fired them. I have to tell you, when I go to the range and do these range reports, I don't keep doing the tests over and over again until I get a good result. I actually show you how I shot the pistol, and yeah, sometimes it makes me look kind of bad. I fully admit it, but I knew those shots were going to be way off when I fired the gun. So that was not the gun's fault. It was totally me and user error. Remember, I am just an average gun guy, and I review these guns from an average gun guy's perspective, so things like that happens. Now that I'm taking a little bit more time with this firearm, I can tell you the recoil of this is a little bit quicker than your standard semi-automatic pistol. It's not snappy, it just feels like the action is moving a little bit faster. That's kind of hard to qualify, but that's just the way that it feels. It's not bad, it's just something that I'm kind of noticing, and I have to say I really love these Sig SRT triggers. But you guys already know that I've reviewed so many Sigs in the past. If you're gonna get a Sig pistol, make sure you get the SRT trigger. All right, so now I'm going to shoot this up against a barrier or kind of bench rest it. I'll put the target out at about 20 or 25 yards, go for another group, see how this thing shoots, especially if I can take as much of the human element out of it as possible. So here we go, about 20 yards, bench resting this or against a barrier. Let's see how I do. All right, and here's an example of me not looking like a good shot. I honestly don't know what happened there. I can tell you my first magazine was pretty good. My second magazine was great. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that these sights are kind of big and they're kind of fat. Let me show it to you here. They are a 3-dot system, kind of the standard sights you'll get on a Sig pistol. That front sight is kind of thick. It is a night sight, and my eyes are pretty good, so I don't know what happened there. I really felt like I was holding the pistol pretty darn steady. I didn't feel like I was having any issues, but the group says everything. I just didn't shoot that way really good. So why is it accurate for me offhand at a little bit closer distance, and when I'm bench resting it or shooting it up against a barrier, it's not as good? I can't tell you. So that's what happened, and I'm just letting you know how I shot the pistol. So if you guys know what happened, let me know in the comments. All right, so as always, I want to give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this, and many times she shoots these pistols better than me, so I'm kind of excited to see what she thinks. And being that she is usually grip sensitive, I actually think she's going to like these grips. She likes them to be all soft and gentle. They might be a little bit too wide for her, but we're just going to have to find out. So let me load up another magazine, give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this, and see if she has any comments on how it performs for her. And I feel that she shot that pretty good with a pretty darn good group. She had no real issues with it except for one, and it has to do once again with the grips and the thickness of the grips. Of course, being a woman, she has smaller hands than me, and she has longer fingernails. And when she was grabbing the grip like this and brought her supporting hand up and was holding onto the pistol, her fingernails were digging into her support hand. So if you're a lady or have smaller hands or have these types of issues, you might not like this particular pistol in this stock configuration, and you'll want to go with a slimmer grip profile. I would want to do that myself. These are just really thick grips for what they are. But who knows, maybe you like that style of grips. But if you are a lady, and that's something that you have to think about, especially if you have longer nails, I think the gun is good. It's a great size. You just might have to change those grips out. All right, so the last test I want to do is the double action test. Usually I shoot these SIGs better in double action than I do single action. I have no idea why. Of course, the double action pull is a lot heavier and a lot slower, but usually, as I said, I get pretty darn good groups with them, especially with the SRT triggers, and I'm curious if this gun's going to be exactly the same. So here we go. I'm going to decock the hammer after every shot fired and just see what type of group I can get in double action only. And there you go. Once again, I'm shooting these SIGs better double action than I do single action. These SRT triggers, or the short reset triggers, are absolutely fantastic. And I personally think that when it comes to double action triggers and semi-automatic pistols, SIG has the best. Better than HK, better than Beretta. They just work for me really well. So what are my final thoughts on the Sig Sauer P229 Elite? Man, this is a great pistol. Overall, this thing is just fantastic. I just don't shoot it at the further ranges as well. So that's really my only complaint personally when it comes to its performance, but most likely, once again, it could be me because I'm just an average gun guy. Sometimes we get a little bit spoiled here on YouTube and on Rumble. We go to watch all these professional competition shooters that can do these amazing things, and probably they film themselves over and over and over again until they get the best take. Well, that's not what you get here. So I hope you come and understand that that's what my content is. An average gun guy creating gun content for average gun owners. So you get what you get. But that was really my only issue when it comes to this, and maybe the fact that the grips are a little bit thick. And once again, my wife had that same issue. And by the way, that reminds me, if you guys want to follow her on Facebook and on Instagram, she is the Texas Gun Princess. I have put a link in the description of all of my videos if you guys want to go over there and follow her. And it just kind of documents her journey through the Second Amendment and getting to shoot all these guns that come through the Texas Gun Vault. So she would really appreciate a like and a follow. But she liked the gun too, but would just want some different grips. I love the looks of this gun. It has all the features on a SIG that I would personally want. And I don't own any SIGs in stainless steel, but this is one I definitely would be interested in maybe purchasing one day. I usually like them more in the nitride finish because it's more of what law enforcement and the militaries use, but for a civilian carry gun, having something like this in stainless steel is great. Man, you put it with some great wood grips, it just has that right look. So overall, this gun checks a lot of boxes for me, and I'm really happy with how it performs and how it shoots. So on my star system, how would I rate the Sig Sauer P229 Elite, chambered in 9mm with the SRT trigger? Well, because of the stock grips, and I know that you can change those out, but remember, my star ratings are always based as the gun sits on the workbench when I review it, and the way that I shoot this gun at a further distance, I can only give it 4 out of 5 stars. With the grips and the accuracy issues for me, 4 out of 5 stars. But it's reliable, it's beautiful, it's obviously well built. I really like this gun a lot, so I'm really happy that I got a chance to shoot and review it. I've shot a lot of 228s, but not a lot of 229s. In fact, I used to have a 229 and 357 SIG that I ended up trading for something at some point along the line. And after reviewing this, it kind of makes me go, maybe I should pick up another one day. So thank you, Ken, for letting me shoot this awesome gun and maybe having me pick up a 229 again sometime in the future. So what do you guys think? Do you own a 229? Do you like it better than the 228? And do you own an Elite version of this gun? And do your experiences mirror mine? I would love to know in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.